Derbe is an important city. We read about it in the New Testament. Sometimes we overlook Derbe. Other cities like Ephesus or Corinth seem more famous, but Derbe played a vital role. It helped the early church grow significantly. It was a place of new beginnings and refuge. God worked powerfully there through his servants. This city has a fascinating story to tell us. Its contribution to faith is worth exploring. The city of Derbe was located in ancient Lycaonia. This region was part of the Roman province of Galatia. Today this area is in modern Turkey. It is near the city of Karaman. Imagine a place on the frontier. It was less prominent than other major centers, yet it became a beacon of hope. The gospel light shone brightly in Derbe. Derbe's significance lies in its connection to the Apostle Paul. He visited this city on his missionary journeys. It became a place of fruitful evangelism. After facing severe persecution elsewhere, Paul found receptive hearts in Derbe. This demonstrates God's sovereign plan. He can use any place, big or small. Derbe shows us that remote places can yield great spiritual harvests. The journey to Derbe was not an easy one. Paul and Barnabas faced intense opposition. In Iconium, there was a plot to mistreat and stone them. So they fled to the Lycaonian cities of Lystra and Derbe. Acts 14 verse 6 tells us, "They found out about it and fled to the Lycaonian cities of Lystra and Derbe and to the surrounding country." This escape was divinely guided. It led them to new opportunities. Persecution often spread the gospel further. Upon arriving in Derbe, Paul and Barnabas did not hide. They did not stop their divine commission. Their recent hardships did not silence them. Instead, Acts 14 verse 7 says, where they continued to preach the gospel. This shows their remarkable courage. Their commitment to Christ was unwavering. They knew their message was life-giving, so they boldly proclaimed it in this new city. Derbe became a new field for their labor. The message they brought was powerful. It was the good news of Jesus Christ. They spoke of his life, death, and resurrection. They offered forgiveness of sins through faith in him. This was a message of hope for all people. It transcended cultural and social barriers. Derbe proved to be very different from Lystra and Iconium. In those cities, Paul and Barnabas faced violence. They encountered strong resistance to their message. But in Derbe the atmosphere was different. The people seemed more open. They listened attentively to the apostles. As Acts 14 verses 20 and 21 record, after leaving Lystra, Paul left for Derbe. They preached the gospel in that city. This simple statement precedes a great outcome. The Bible highlights the positive response in Derbe. Acts 14 verse 21 continues, and won a large number of disciples. This was a significant success. Many people believed the good news. They chose to follow Jesus Christ. This was a wonderful encouragement for Paul and Barnabas. After so much suffering, they saw great fruit. God blessed their faithful preaching. Derbe became a place of spiritual harvest. What made the people of Derbe so receptive? The Bible does not give us specific details. Perhaps the news of events in Lystra had reached them. Maybe they were weary of their old ways. It is certain that God's Spirit was at work. He prepared their hearts to receive the word. The contrast with other cities is striking. Paul did not forget the believers in Derbe. His missionary strategy involved more than just initial evangelism. He deeply cared for the spiritual growth of new converts. So after some time, Paul decided to revisit the churches. Acts 15 verse 36 records Paul saying to Barnabas, "Let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns where we preach the word of Lord and see how they are doing." This concern extended to Derbe. This shows his pastoral heart. On his second missionary journey, Paul, now with Silas, fulfilled this desire. Acts 16 verse 1 tells us, Paul came to Derbe and then to Lystra. He made it a point to return. He wanted to encourage the disciples. He aimed to strengthen their faith. This return visit was vital. It helped to establish the young churches. It showed the believers they were not alone. Their spiritual father remembered them and cared for them. This practice of returning and strengthening was crucial. New believers faced many challenges. They needed teaching and encouragement. They needed to be built up in their faith. Paul and his companions provided this support, as Acts 14 verse 22 describes their earlier work, strengthening the disciples and encouraging them to remain true to the faith. Section 5, Nurturing Future Leaders, the Emergence of Timothy. It was during Paul's second visit to this region, Derbe and Lystra, that a key figure emerged. This was Timothy. Acts 16 verse 1 states, Paul came to Derbe and then to Lystra, where a disciple named Timothy lived. Timothy's mother, Eunice, was a Jewish believer. His grandmother, Lois, also had sincere faith, as noted in 2 Timothy 1 verse 5. His father, however, was a Greek. Timothy grew up in a mixed household, yet faith was nurtured in him from childhood. Timothy had a good reputation. The believers in Lystra and Iconium spoke well of him, as mentioned in Acts 16 verse 2. This indicates his strong character. It shows his commitment to Christ was evident to others. He was respected within the Christian community. This was a very important quality. Leadership often begins with a good testimony among God's people. Timothy possessed this from a young age. He was a promising young man. Paul saw great potential in Timothy. He wanted Timothy to accompany him on his missionary journeys, as stated in Acts 16 verse 3. This was a significant decision. Paul was looking for faithful co-workers. Timothy became like a son to Paul in the faith. Paul mentored him and trained him. Section 6. Echoes from the Earth, Unearthing Derbe's Past. For many centuries, the precise location of ancient Derbe was uncertain. Historians and archaeologists debated various possibilities. They searched for clues in ancient texts and on the ground. The land of Lycaonia held its secrets well. Pinpointing biblical sites is often a complex task. It requires careful study and exploration. Derbe was no exception to this challenge. Its exact spot remained elusive for a long time. Gradually, archaeological research began to shed light on Derbe. The site known as Kurti Hoyuk or Devri Seri gained prominence. This mound is located about 22 kilometers north-northeast of Karaman, Turkey. Several factors supported its identification as Derbe. The geographical descriptions fit well with the biblical narrative. Scholars carefully pieced together the evidence. This site became the leading candidate for ancient Derbe. This was an exciting development for biblical history. Key discoveries helped confirm this identification. An important inscription was found in 1956. It mentioned the council and people of the Derbetes. This provided strong linguistic evidence. Roman milestones were also discovered in the region. These marked distances along ancient roads. They helped reconstruct the road network. Section 7. Derbe today, a land of contrasts and connections. The modern region around ancient Derbe, Karaman province, is very different now. The passage of nearly 2,000 years has brought many changes. The predominant culture today is Muslim. The ancient Christian communities of Lycaonia are long gone. The landscape itself has evolved, yet the historical importance of the area remains. It is a land of deep history. It holds stories from many civilizations. Despite the cultural shifts, there is a growing awareness of the region's rich heritage. This includes its significant Christian past. Local authorities and scholars recognize the value of these ancient sites. Efforts are being made to preserve and understand them. This historical layering makes the area unique. It tells a story of diverse peoples and faiths. The Christian chapter is an important part of that story. Archaeological tourism is being encouraged in the Karaman region. Sites like Kurti Hoyuk, the likely location of Derbe, are part of this initiative. They attract visitors interested in history and archaeology. They also draw those interested in biblical studies. These sites offer a connection to the distant past. Section 8. Lessons from Derbe enduring faith for modern times. The story of Derbe, though brief in scripture, offers powerful lessons. These lessons are relevant for believers today. We can learn much from the apostles. We can also learn from the new disciples in Derbe. Their experiences speak across the centuries. Their faith can encourage our own walk with God. Derbe is a small city with a big message. One key lesson is perseverance in the face of adversity. Paul had just endured stoning in Lystra. He was left for dead, yet the next day, he and Barnabas left for Derbe. He did not give up. He continued his mission. This incredible resilience is a model for us. Christians will face trials, but we are called to persevere. We must remain steadfast in our service to God. Derbe also teaches us that God can bring great fruit in unexpected places. Derbe was not a major metropolis. It might have seemed insignificant to some, yet they preached the gospel in that city and won a large number of disciples. We should never underestimate what God can do. Section 9. The Enduring Legacy of Derbe, a Call to Faithful Witness. Derbe might seem like a footnote in the grand narrative of Acts. Its name appears only a few times, yet its impact on the early spread of Christianity was significant. It served as a crucial point of refuge and revival. It was a place where the gospel found fertile soil. The church established in Derbe became a testament to God's power. It shows how the good news can transform communities. The story of Derbe reminds us of God's wonderful strategy. He often uses what the world considers small or ordinary. He works through faithful, dedicated individuals. Paul, Barnabas, and later Timothy were instruments in his hands. The believers in Derbe also played their part. They received the word. They formed a new community of faith. Their response contributed to the growth of the early church. Every believer has a role. The courage and commitment shown by these early Christians are inspiring. They faced persecution with unwavering faith. They shared the gospel with passion and conviction. Their example challenges us today.